So we are back with Tim Ripper Owens. Tim, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it. So we did a little post that you were going to be on the show. One of our members, a guy by the name of Paulie, he says, when you interview Ripper, can you talk to him about his Canadian bassist from Nova Scotia, which is Adrian Robichaud?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm gonna hit you with a couple things here, but tell us about Adrian, because when I was doing a little bit of research, that sounds like a very killer band. You get the Drover brothers, him.
Yeah, he's badass. He's really good. We have a great time, he comes out and his wife, they take the trip and they drive around with us, and I'll drive up there. So I'll drive myself from here. It's about 12 hours and I'll probably go up to Montreal, wherever, and then drive through. Yeah, we do this night of metal with the Drover brothers and we just bust out all these classic tunes from Balls to the Wall to whatever, and Megadeth tunes or whatever we're doing. And he is unbelievable. His bass is ginormous. It looks like it's like his fingers, and his bass is so big. It's like he just is all over the place, and he's spot on with everything he plays. And we have a great time when we do it. We used to do about 4 shows, hit Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal, Quebec, I think,
Well, so you're a sports guy, so I want to give you a little bit of a trivia. So he's actually from a place called, he lives in Spring Hill, Nova Scotia, which is about 20 minutes from a place called Amherst, Nova Scotia, where a gentleman by the name of Rocky Johnson was born. And Rocky Johnson is the Rock, Dwayne Johnson's father. So
yeah,
that's, I don't know if you knew that or not.
I didn't know that. I didn't know he's from there. I mean, I knew of his dad in wrestling because he was big in America back in the day, so as a big time wrestler. So yeah, I didn't know that he's from there. That's great.
Yeah, we don't want to get too much sports. We were warned if we get you on sports, we may not get you off the show. So
no, I like to talk a little bit about it, but I'm fine.
All right, so I'll throw this at you then. So I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say. Browns or Bengals?
Browns.
Right on. And how do you think they're going to do this year?
Well, they've really stunk for so long. I'm a homer, so I root for all home teams. Ohio State Buckeyes, Cleveland Browns, Cavs, Indians. I'm kind of that homer guy. But the only thing that always worries me is now they're supposed to be good. And every time they're supposed to be good, then they end up stinking again. So, but I can't see how they could be that bad. They should be pretty exciting this year because they got a pretty good team. I think.
And well, you mentioned the Cavs. So, I mean, it must have been great for when LeBron was back. And how'd you feel about when he left for the second time?
Well, it always stinks when you leave, but after, the way he changed and the things he does on social media, I'm pretty glad he's not here, to be honest. I think I'd rather have a losing Cavs without LeBron than even having him here now because he's just as off in his own little world, I think. But yeah, listen, the guy was the best basketball player, in my opinion, ever. And he's from Akron right here in my hometown. And I saw him in high school and I've never seen, it was like a man amongst boys. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. The guy was just unbelievable.
Okay, the last sports thing I'll hit you with. So I saw a tweet that you sent out the other night about the Mayweather fight.
Yeah,
which is pretty interesting. I didn't watch it, but I knew exactly what happened based upon your tweet. So,
well, listen, I didn't buy it. I didn't even know it was happening. My girlfriend's son, he's 11. He's like, "Hey, that fight's on there." I'm like, "What fight?" It's an exhibition. But I was seeing what was going on at the fight, and I found a stream on Twitter. That's how I watched it, sitting on the couch. Well, what do you expect? I mean, it's an exhibition that it's a guy, first of all, that's has one fight in his life, and he lost to another YouTube star. He's not a fighter. He actually looked decent for some guy who's not a fighter, but he's going against a little teeny fella, who's unbelievable fighter, but it's not the most explosive guy who's doesn't fight for 3 or 4 rounds until the guy's tired. I was expecting it to be him to, Mayweather to knock him out. He was probably hoping he would, but I mean, it's an exhibition fight. People were mad at the YouTube guy doing it. And this guy, I'm like, listen, so if they offered you money, and even though he's rich, I mean, who wouldn't want to, I'd fight Floyd Mayweather just to do it. I would last 30 seconds with him probably. I don't know. I'd probably get tired of getting into the ring. So I don't think I could, but it is what it is for people to, I can't believe people, it's bad for it's becoming like, Floyd Mayweather doing donkey shows and racing things, and mud wrestling's next, and Jello wrestling with midgets. I mean, this is what he's kind of at now, I think. And it's sad because he probably still could beat half the boxers out there.
Sure. So that we'll get back to music, and I wanted to ask you about Dio Disciples, because that to me is that's a very cool band. That must be great for you to be a part of that. I'm guessing you were a huge Dio fan.
Oh, Ronnie was great, and a friend of mine and a mentor. And yeah, I mean, I was friends with those guys for years, and Wendy Dio actually was my manager for a long time, and still, I mean, if I needed something, she still would be, because we're great friends. She managed me when I was in Beyond Fear, and doing it is great because it's not only Ronnie's bandmates but friends, but just singing him. I say this all the time. I could sing Ronnie a lot at night. I could still feel him even when I'm doing my solo shows. But man, when I do those shows, it is like I just feel it, And if I ever mess up, I just know he's down there like, you, damn you, But I feel him. It's just so much energy. And it's weird that I say that every show, even if I don't feel great or my voice in there, I just feel this vibe, because man, he meant so much to me and still means so much to me that it's awesome.
Well, I mean, and so a lot of the stuff that you do. I mean, I've watched a lot of stuff that you do. You're not a kind of a mail-in average type singer. You're going for it all the time. So what happens when Tim Owens has a rough night? Because I mean, obviously you want to be on point the whole time, but you might not go. You might go up there and you're not feeling it. How is somebody that does what you do and sings the way you sing? How do you conquer that?
Well, it just happens. I mean, it happens more now. When I got in my 50s, I really feel it. You get older, it's, I feel like I'm a better singer now, but I'm a lot more brittle, where I got to watch things, and it's not as easy to do. It's easier to leave me. I might not have it, but even if I don't, I find ways to get around it because I feel like I'm a better singer. But it's hard. I mean, you got to hope. Especially, there's a big expectation with my singing. I've always been known as a live singer, and like you said, I push it and want to do good every night. So people expect that. I realize I can hold back a little bit and still sound exactly the same. I don't have to push one, but it's way harder. I just wake up now and go, or I start singing in the studio. I'm like, I can get around it in the studio because you could do another take. Okay. My voice has this crack in it now in this mid range. And I'm like, it's like this little squeal that'll come out. So I got to keep doing it. Well, that can't be done live on stage. When you're known as a live singer, I'm known as singing songs live like they were supposed to be sung. I don't change them to make them easier. I probably should start doing that. Well, I'll do what everybody does, man. They stick the mic out and let everybody sing the whole song.
Well, but it's interesting because you're playing with all these bands that you're writing songs in, but then you have this cover band. And we've talked to people that play in cover bands, and they say it's almost harder to be in a cover band because you have to imitate a whole bunch of different people, a whole bunch of different genres, a whole bunch of different singers. What would you say to that? Would you say, is that accurate? I mean, I know to be creative and stuff, it's one thing, but to do that, people are folding their arms. You better get this right. You know what I mean?
Well, most of the songs that I do, like in A Night of Metal, is in my wheelhouse. First of all, there's a lot of Judas Priest in it. There's maybe some Maiden, some Dio. It's kind of what I'm known for. I don't really go off, except I'll do, it's all stuff that I can sing. So I don't know whether it's easier. I almost feel like, or harder. I think it's easier for me to do cover stuff because I put my own vocals in another limit, so I push a lot of my stuff to the limit where some of this stuff it doesn't necessarily mean. I mean, Green Manalishi, Living for Midnight, Breaking the Law, that's not my limit, so those are breaks. Those aren't always in my regular set list. And if I do throw Living for Midnight in there, that gives me a nice break. But singing Dio is tough though. Now they are tough to sing. Maiden and Dio, all these singers are tough to sing, but you can cheat. I think you can actually cheat a little bit more on some of those songs now. Listen, I'm not the local cover singer, so I have an advantage. I can sing them like Ripper Owens. That makes a little bit more advantage to me. It's like I'll put high notes somewhere or sing something a little different because I've earned that respect or right to do it. Whereas some of the local bands, those guys got to get up there and they're supposed to be singing it spot on. So, and I went through that.
That's a good point. We're going to take another break, and then I know you get something to do after this, so we're gonna do our best to get you out of here. But we'll take a break, and then I want to come back and kind of follow up on that, because as you were saying it, you hit something that I'd like to elaborate on. So we're back after this.